So, I guess one of the points that have always kind of stood out in my mind that may have probably started to trigger a change in how I handle anything in life is when I moved, my family and I moved here to Fairfax in 2004. It was right before my 7th grade year. And it was a big change for me. I'd never moved anywhere, but I'm an only child, so I don't have any brothers or sisters to kind of share a common kind of experience with. Because I've been shy, I'm not one to have a large group of friends, but rather a smaller, more tight-knit group. And so since I had to leave all that behind, I was starting from a new point that I was not familiar with. And so throughout the next couple of years, it was difficult to make new friends or make ones that I valued as close and not someone I would just hang out with during or in between class. And I definitely made friends, and I still talk with them now, even after I've graduated. But in 2008, it was my sophomore year, and I had my first big death in the family. My grandmother on my mom's side passed, and it was my first experience with someone who I had seen before be gone. And I understood what death was, but I didn't understand why you could see someone 1 month and then they'll be gone the next time you see them. And I still don't understand it. By my senior year of high school, I was starting to experience a lot more sadness, and I was very hard on myself. I struggled with a lot of body issues and anxiety about my future. And I still struggle with body issues, although I've gotten better at that. For the longest time, I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror. Sometimes now, if I notice I'm avoiding the mirror, I will force myself to look at it so that I can remind myself that I can't be so mean to myself. But I had a friend help me understand those feelings, and I asked her to go with me to the counselor's office so that I wouldn't back out of asking for help with my counselor. And I was then transferred to the school psychologist, and she really helped me. And she transferred me to a therapist outside of the school so that I could do regular meetings. And that was probably the first good experience that I had with any kind of doctor that I wasn't, apprehensive about getting stuck with a needle or something like that. She had dogs in her office. I could talk about anything. I felt like I was comfortable there. It was a safe space. And I was starting to understand what I was feeling and why I was being so horrible to myself in my mind. And she really helped me through it, although talk therapy wasn't getting me far enough. And so I took steps to get medication. And I've been on a couple different doses and brands and things like that. And of course, only up until the past year and a half have I finally found something that has made me feel stable enough that I can work on other things. That, before that, I was having panic attacks sporadically. At the end of high school, I was having sporadic bouts of self-harm. They weren't consistent enough to really call it, I think, as much a habit as it was sort of a resort that I went to, sort of a last resort when things were at its worst. But I was never suicidal because I have such an immense fear of death and the unknown. Of course, if you bring up, you're afraid of being 80 in your deathbed and your final breath and you're only 18, and someone says, that's forever away. I says, well, you know, maybe to you, but to me, in my mind, it feels like it could be tomorrow that I am 80 tomorrow. And it really just feels like I'm blinking my eyes and I can feel that fear. And so therapy has helped me kind of get through that. And it helped me get through college when I was experiencing an emotionally traumatic and abusive friendship for a few years. And when I finally got out of it, I spiraled downwards, and I almost failed out of my second to last semester of college. And I don't know really what picked me out of it, but asking for help was probably the hardest thing. I mean, I'd asked for help before, but not with people I didn't know. And with my parents, my mom has been very helpful and understanding. She asks me, what do you want me to do? She doesn't force it on me, like, you're going to do this. She asks me what I want. And I may not know the answer, but at least she asks. And my dad doesn't understand, but he's working on it. But then there are the family members who might say, what do you have to be sad about? And that's why during my final year of college, I did my senior project, which was a photography project, and that was self-portraits depicting my depression. And I want to be able to show people that, what it's like. But my way of coping now is that, I'm steady on my medication, and I have my consistent therapy, but I'm still coexisting with it. It's not something I'm ever going to beat. It's not a cold. It's not a broken arm. It's something that I'm just going to have to live with, but I need to remind myself that sometimes my inner strength is what keeps me going, even if other people love me. Sometimes I need to rely on myself to keep myself happy, even if I can't smile that day.
Thank you so much, Sara. I like the term, finding your own inner strength. I think, it's something all of us need to